Hello internet and all places internet. Now I've mentioned on this channel a couple times before in some other videos, this is actually a side channel. The main channel is just Wyatt Grondin, after my first and last name. And on that main channel, back in January, against all odds because I was pretty busy that month, I managed to get out a 2-hour-long retrospective of basically my favorite media moments from the previous 2 years. If you're a fan of Super Eye Patch Wolf, picture the stuff he kind of does every season or so, his favorite things, which is, not just games, not just movies, a combination of everything. Except again, instead of for a season, it was for 2 full years. Now, I like long videos myself, and I'm very proud of that one, but because I'm so proud of it, I want more people to watch it, and because I understand 2 hours can be a pretty big commitment for some people, even with several sittings, I've been chopping that video up to just have the individual sections on places. Not on that same channel though, to try to ease some confusion, And most of those sections just went to Vimeo. I decided to keep this one here for the side channel though, because do you really want to go to Vimeo to watch a video about all the great stuff on YouTube? Yeah, that would seem pretty weird, wouldn't it? Now, there's one other thing that I wanted to make a verbal narration intro thing for this one only. The other segmented stuff, they don't have an intro like this. They just have a different outro to say, hey, click the link below for the actual video. This one's getting a voiced intro because, well, YouTube is kind of a very small little capsule when it comes to all the creatives. So it was always very likely that one of the people I'm praising in both the 2-hour video and just the lone segment I'm putting here may either see it or be shown it by somebody. And speaking of, I don't want to bother nobody, so don't just clip this and show it to them. They don't need to watch it. I'm just happy that they created the content that I liked so much I talked about them. But of course, it was always possible they would find out, so hey, here's the shorter version so you can just skip to yourself if you're one of the content creators who gets told that your content is talked about in this video, or the 2-hour one, because there are timestamps. Also, hey, if you're one of the creators who I praised in this video, as you know, there are 4 slots at the end of the end card here where you can link other stuff. I gotta save one for myself, but the other 3, free for all. If you're one of the people I praised in here, say in the comments, or DM me on Twitter or something, because I'm probably following you, and say, hey, thanks, now go make people watch my stuff by linking it in the end card. And hey, when the end card stuff is all done, if you also say link my channel in the description, more than willing to do it. Didn't do it in the 2-hour one because A, I did not have permission to, and B, the 2-hour one, because of the time cards, I basically ate the whole description up. So the other reason I'm doing it here is so that way I could link all of your channels, or just the videos if you'd rather like that, for the ones who I'm only talking about a video instead of your actual whole channel. Probably ate up more of this intro than I needed to. Anyway, if you are watching this though, whether you're one of the content creators or just some person who clicked on this and went, I think I can recognize that blurry image, I'm gonna click on it to see if it is. Thank you, and please sub to my main channel. You can sub to this channel if you want to, but mostly it would make me feel better if you did the main one. Also, give likes and comments, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I don't have a third thing, so whatever. Just do those things, please, if you find it in your heart. And now, for YouTube videos, I guess that's a half-truth, as I need to talk about some podcasts real quick. Yeah, YouTube is where I listen to my podcasts, leave me alone. When my job came back, I briefly worked alone for a night shift, and podcasts really helped the time go by. And there were 2 upstarts of 2021 that deserve a special thank you for that. Saber Spark is a YouTuber who reviews animated movies, TV shows, and even some web stuff on his main channel. But in 2021, he teamed up with an old childhood friend to do his own podcast called Bear vs. Gorilla, BVG for shorthand. It's
BVG.
Alright folks, welcome back to BVG.
And yeah, I had a lot of fun listening to this when it was still a thing. Just two old friends catching up and shooting the shit. Usually talking about a hypothetical situation of who would win in a fight. And even then, they could use that premise for a variety of other things. A favorite of mine is actually this several episodes long idea of the fast food tier lists. Just two restaurants butting heads, seeing which one wins. And yeah, as someone who... Actually, I don't really eat fast food all that much anymore at all, but I still kind of find that exciting. And I think everybody else who listens to this podcast would not let me live without mentioning a couple other episodes. The one where the focus was Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, and he got to take on basically the entire world.
And we're jumping back into the realm of Gaston and all of his shenanigans and how he fights the powers of the world and occasionally wins and mostly loses. Our next round, we're halfway through this at the moment, folks. We've got Gaston versus Gaston.
Ultimately, I think they would probably just start kissing.
Now, as I basically already mentioned briefly offhand there, it hasn't updated in a lot of months. And look, podcasts sometimes just don't pan out due to life situations, or view counts, or whatever it is. I'm just saying this for anybody who might be interested and decide to go watch some episodes. I'm not going to sit here and say that Saberspark owes me an explanation for why his podcast isn't uploading anymore. I don't care the reasons why. I'm just happy that it existed in the first place, really. If we never get a new installment, at least we've got the episodes that we have. The other podcast has also not updated in a while, but the YouTuber behind it has stated that it's just on a hiatus. So this one is a bit easier to recommend to new listeners.
Hello, and if you don't mind, hello, my lovely friends, and welcome to another episode of ArloCast, a podcast.
Arlo is a blue Muppet-like YouTuber who covers mostly Nintendo games, but also gaming news. That's also mostly Nintendo. I enjoy his content, and his podcast is no exception. He gets new guests every time. Okay, sure, there are some repeats, but even when that happens, he tries to change the lineup, so it at least is a different combination of people. It's also just a fun and friendly chat about things going on in newer gaming. There's also segments dedicated to food, and currently fake ad reads. That will hopefully become real ad reads one day.
And now on to that was everybody, right? Yeah, it was. Now on to the final segment of the show, What You Been Eating? You are a riot. You are a riot. But you know what? It's time for a word from our sponsor. This episode of ArloCast was brought to you by Panda Express. Here's the thing. Not sponsored by Panda Express, but I did talk to a Panda Express representative. By that, I mean the girl at the counter.
Arlo, pies and Chinese food? Come on.
Pies and Chinese food, no.
Like all the good podcasts, it's laid back and chill. Sometimes it gets a little crazy, but only when it's deserved. And again, yeah, if you aren't into gaming podcasts, at least there's some dedicated segments that being something a little bit different. And hey, if you are really into gaming podcasts, but just hate how there's always just a solid screen image there, nothing moving, there's gameplay footage instead. So yeah, you can watch Mario Odyssey happen while you hear Arlo speak. I call that a win. Now again, there's only old episodes to go back to in both cases here. I don't know when either will update again, so just take that into consideration. I don't know when the next new episodes are, so just enjoy what's there for right now. So now for real, full YouTube videos. You know, if there's one thing positive 2020 did for me personally, is that it actually gave me decent YouTube recommendations. Like, can we talk about this for just 1 second? Does anyone else have this problem where you watch one video from a channel, one you weren't even that super into, maybe you didn't even finish it, and YouTube just spams videos from just that channel? You never go back to it, but for weeks YouTube will think you really want to go back to that one channel, even though you never watched another one after that. And you know what? Okay, fine, it's helping you discover new stuff. I kind of get it. What I don't get is all the times I have unsubbed from a channel, and especially if it's a channel I haven't watched anything from for a while. And then, that's when YouTube starts recommending all the videos from that channel. I don't get it. I have told you explicitly I don't want to watch anything from this channel anymore. Why are you choosing this to be the time you pump the recommendations out? Especially since I don't even really use the recommendations. When I subscribe to her channel, I actually go to the subscriptions bar. Not everyone uses that, and that's fine. It makes sense to just use the recommendations page, but I click that so I can always get every single videos from my subscriptions. So I want to use the recommendations tab to find stuff I didn't know to look for, and it doesn't help if you spam it with stuff from channels I have unsubbed from. But in 2020, things actually kind of turned around. I started seeing channels I'd never heard of, and videos that actually did sound kind of interesting. I won't lie, maybe it's because I had even more time to watch than usual. YouTube was pretty good at showing me stuff I didn't know I wanted to watch yet. So because of that, I actually have a couple specific videos and a couple specific channels. I'm going to do channels I'd never heard of that were pretty much instant subscriptions for me, and then after that I'm going to do videos from people that already subscribed to that really just jumped out to me. And funny enough, that first half you could call the 2020 recommends, and then the 2021 recommends. Before we do that, we're going to do a perfect marriage of the two. A video that was so good I subscribed instantly. And if this channel never uploaded ever again, I would still stay subscribed. I first really got into internet videos while I was graduating from high school, and that year was 2010. So yeah, the years I shifted into young adulthood also happened to be the rise of Blip TV and the original Channel Awesome website, all the way back when it was still called ThatGuyWithTheGlasses.com. I was there when people took the nostalgia critic seriously. And because I was a young adult, I had some semi-maturity, which means when Doug Walker announced he was going to retire from the nostalgia critic and focus on a demo reel, I was actually excited for the guy. I was happy that he didn't have to be stuck in something dead end he didn't want to do anymore. That he'd get to move on, create what he wanted to be his magnum opus. Considering my thoughts now on the company and the creator are so vastly different, yeah, it feels like another world even to me saying it out loud. But I wanted Doug Walker to have his magnum opus. But you cannot make a magnum opus when you have absolutely no idea what you are doing. Years aren't kind to some forms of art. This is far from the only thing wrong with Doug Walker's past creations, and yet demo reel is the thing that maybe was the biggest turning point, and yet a lot of the videos covering the failures of Channel Awesome footnote demo reel at best. And then I discovered this video by Lady Emily. Lady Emily so meticulously examined every single thing that went wrong here. Not just the script writing, not just the character writing, not just the lazy effects, not just the confused method of attempting to tell its seriousness and its comedy bits, how the script just does not work, how it can be up its own ass and just blatantly so. How the announcement was a mistake in timing. How the planning was a mistake in every way you'd want to plan out media. Even how the backtracking had its elements of stupid. And it's funny, I've watched this video so many times, and every single time I see another demo reel clip in it and I'm surprised at what I'm watching. I was there when this was new and I don't remember this show as well as I thought I did. I see now why it is so footnoted. There is nothing there unless you really dedicate your time to it, which is what the video does. Before watching it, I remember saying, finally someone's gonna actually sit down and talk about this show. And every time I'm done watching it, I go, wow, there's no room for anyone else to talk about this show now. Some legacies are best left like this. Dummereel was such an abject failure. This is the only way to really remember it. Everything that went wrong is too sad to even be a punchline, and it's still too terrible to be forgotten. There was this mix of missed ideas and broken egos. It's a warning if anything else. And the best way to suffer through it is through this really excellent video. By the by, slightly unrelated, her dollar store game show video is pretty damn good too. Alright, so like I said, we're gonna go into channels I discovered during all of this. And since one of the years was 2020, yeah, I discovered the guy everybody discovered from 2020.
Hey y'all, Scott here. Let's rank our cousins.
Scott the Woz feels like a channel you could show to anybody and say, this is what internet shows are like. There's this perfect mix of learning from the past of other internet shows and also how to do your own thing. Sketch comedy is back now, a genre I thought was dead for this platform, and it's really excellent. The game reviews are very funny and are very in-depth. And as someone who's been around here for a while, I have a soft spot when creators just have their friends on to play extras. And Scott, your friends are some of the best extras I've ever seen in this kind of content. I may have discovered Scott the Woz very recently, but he's in the pile of channels where I feel they only produce great content. It's the stuff I always enjoy watching, and I always enjoy every second of it. So while I do watch a lot of gaming reviews, I don't watch that many game challenge videos. Now there is one big exception though, because after all, sometimes you just have to ask the eternal questions.
There is a lot of magic in the Elder Scrolls V game. Some spells are offensive, others are defensive, some can spawn in new friends, and others still can bring old ones back from the dead. But there's one spell that's seemingly worthless. Can you beat Skyrim with only the telekinesis spell?
There's just so many things I like about Mitten Squad. I like the variety of his challenges and the ideas that he has behind his challenges. I like how, even though they're comedy videos, if he breaks a rule, he is honest about it. He'll still keep making the video, but he'll make it clear, hey, I technically failed this challenge by the by. Which, if you take this stuff very seriously, is probably refreshing, that even the comedy one will adhere to the rules. The dark comedy never manages to go too far, at least not for me. And he feels very fast while also being very deadpan at the exact same time. Paul's stuff is just a clear example of not usually my thing, but we'll sit down every single time for your stuff. As discussed in the book section, I like the early Kingdom Hearts games. And speaking of the words early Kingdom Hearts, to remind you once again, I'm an old timer when it comes to watching internet stuff. There used to be a bigger Kingdom Hearts community on YouTube. A lot of the old guard seems to kind of, I don't know if they're done with the game series necessarily, although I'm sure some of them are. The series is getting a bit more divisive, but that's another point to be perfectly honest. A lot of them I think are just moving on with their lives and trying to do new stuff. They don't owe anybody an explanation, so I am just posturing. But of course, when an old guard moves on, a new guard tends to come to those greener pastures, or whatever. Yeah, we'll go with that, or whatever. And there's been a lot of new folks that I actually like quite a bit. Novion's content is pretty fun. I just started watching absolutely everything about. Her stuff's pretty good too. But the one who really sticks out to me, his name is Regular Pat. The dude's not afraid to really dig into some ideas and be a bit silly. And he's just as not afraid to actually fully analyzed the character writing for this whole franchise. The good thing about Pat is he loves every installment in this franchise, and it is a bit of a warts and all situation. He is willing to criticize something even if he does ultimately even like the decision. He's just willing to see what's not perfect about it. And I do find that pretty refreshing. I don't have to agree with every single thing a content creator is saying. I'd be a very boring person if I did. All I ask is that you explain your opinion to the best of your abilities. Explain it in a way where I understand why you feel that way. And I've never left a regular Pat video going, I wish he just really explained a little bit more. I feel like I don't know what he was talking about. Doesn't matter if it's his boss rankings, it doesn't matter if it's Heartless Compendiums, or even just his kind of shitposty stuff. I love everything from this channel. And yeah, it's one of those channels I watch everything from. Now, I've been saying Kingdom Hearts a lot, so you might be going, does he have non-Kingdom Hearts content? Because I'm not necessarily a Kingdom Hearts fan. And again, even if you're not a Kingdom Hearts fan, I think he keeps the discussions fun and entertaining enough. But obviously, because it is the main focus, I can understand you being a little bit leery. He has occasionally talked about other stuff like Deltarune and Spyro Reignited, but, you know, YouTube algorithm, don't expect those too much because those don't seem to perform as well. But at least there is some deviation if you're interested. They're fun, they're witty, and they're surprisingly insightful. Yeah, regular Pat, pretty regular guy with some pretty, very good content. I couldn't find a word that sounds like regular that meant really good. Let's just pretend I said excellent. Okay, so now just back to the singular videos. Wait, hold on, that's actually not entirely accurate. While there's only 2 more left, they're actually both individually a series of videos. The first one, in fact, is a series of live streams, and it's even the 2nd season to a bunch of live streams.
Today, I'm going to be doing a randomized Nuzlocke of Pokemon Black with a twist. Every single Pokemon that I catch throughout this run will be represented and controlled by one of my friends. This is Season 2 of the Pokemon Friendlock.
So I discovered Season 1 of the Friendlock through being already subscribed to Salty DK Dan, and I had a lot of fun watching those. So you probably know this is coming. I've been around the internet for a while. Because of that, I've been watching and reading a lot of Nuzlocke content, or at least I was. Also, after doing the challenge myself a couple times, just for personal, it was never a video series or anything, I kind of felt that the challenge itself was starting to get stale, as was the kind of content. It's just the same kind of thing. It was no longer one of my specific interests. But after watching the Friendlock Season 1, I felt like a rekindling of what I originally liked about Nuzlocke content, and it kind of is some of the best Nuzlocke content to ever exist. It's just so much more full of fun and personality. So then, of course, going into Season 2, I was way more aware that this was a series of live streams that then gets edited into singular episodes. So there was basically a part in my personal life where every Sunday night I was tuning in to the Friendlock Season 2. At this point, this was when I was still working nights, so I didn't have to worry about missing sleep. So I booted up Halo Master Chief Collection, turned the sound off, went to get some collectibles, and watched the Friendlock Season 2. And I just fell in love with hearing this utterly bizarre cast of characters bounce off each other, piss each other off, attempt to tell some kind of story, and then get trampled over because how dare you try to tell a story? We had Peter Ness and Sauerkraut, Jay and Tracy, Coach Kaz, Gerber Gaming, Kringle Fuck, Evil and Fucked Up Wizard. There's so many characters that I'm really sorry for anybody I didn't mention. There were so many of you, and I loved so many of you, all of you, that it's really hard to just list everybody. You were all the perfect fucking oddballs for this stupid fucking adventure, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. You remember when Mikey D was getting revenge at the gym, and Hannah told everybody to give your energy to Mikey for the Spirit Bomb? I hit 30 in 2022, the big 3-0. Last year, when I was told to give Mikey D's my energy, I put my Xbox controller down and I put my fucking hands in the air. I'm never going to be afraid of the fact that I did that. I will always be happy of the fact I was that thoroughly engaged with these silly-ass live streams. I know how the story ends because I've seen all the live streams, and I know the episodes aren't done being released yet. Guys, if you're waiting to see the episodes, you're in for a treat. Oh, and, Pasty Tulpa. So now for the last video series. And there's a bit of a difference in this, other than the fact that these ones weren't live streams. These were entirely just edited episodes of a video essay series. There's also a bigger difference. I really loved Salty's content through and through when he was releasing these live streams. This next guy, there's a sort of almost half redemption here. I didn't think his channel was bad. I liked quite a bit of his previous stuff, and then when I did like it, it was really thoroughly engaging, and I really liked what he was saying. There were some other times I wasn't as into it, though. Specifically, this guy would go on some tangents that I just didn't always felt fit, and I don't know, the jokes just weren't always funny. Not even horribly unfunny. Not, why'd you tell that terrible joke? Just, I see where this is going, I just didn't find it really funny. And so this content creator, he kept promising this series of videos when he hit a certain subscriber mark. And I kept listening when he promised it, and I kept going, this will be probably great for you, and it'll be probably great for the people wanting it. It's not a subject matter I particularly care about, so I don't know. Then it came around. It's my favorite video of 2021.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
On September the 8th, 2007, after constant promotion and fanfare, the television show iCarly first premiered on Nickelodeon.
I don't really care one way or the other about iCarly. I specifically am just neutral. But hearing Quentin Reviews so thoroughly talk about everything about this series, just this shockingly amazing way that he does it, I've watched all 3 videos that are out twice. No stone is unturned here. He found a way to get to the Kids' Choice Awards videos. He looked at the McDonald's toys. Oh, okay, guys. There's this bit in the Victorious episode where he tangents for a little bit to talk about all the video games. For a little bit, I mean it's a fucking hour. And I'm so happy it was an hour. Every goddamn second of that bit is just, chef's kiss. It's beautiful. I don't know how we could have made these videos any better. They are all just so good. And like I said, look, with no offense to the guy at all, because I was still enjoying the content like more than 50% of the time. If you'd asked me in 2020 what I thought of Quentin Reviews, I would have said, oh, I like the guy. He tangents a bit much, though. If you ask me what I think now, I love Quentin Reviews. That motherfucker knows how to tangent. Something I love about YouTube is how much people can just chat about things they love, for every reason that they love it. And even every criticism they have that they see, they can't overlook, but it just doesn't ruin it for them, or even if it kind of does, why? Fanning over something is just this interesting thing to watch people do. And it matters very little how you yourself feel about the property. I remember this one time when I was in college, this one guy I knew wanted to talk about Star Wars. And I may have accidentally phrased something in a way that sounded way more meaner than I thought. I told the guy that I wasn't really a big Star Wars person, so I wouldn't have much to input. And I'm really afraid that the guy took it as, look man, I don't care about Star Wars, don't talk. I really didn't mean it that way. What I meant was, if you're looking for back and forth, you're not going to get it. But by all means, tell me everything about this thing you love. I don't know. It's one of the biggest reasons I still watch stuff on this platform. I love hearing people talk about what they love. And some people are incredibly gifted at it. So I may not go binge iCarly after this video series, because he didn't convince me to keep watching it, he just convinced me why so many people do binge iCarly, why they love iCarly. I completely love this video series. They're new favorites of mine. And I am Really waiting for Victorious Part 2 and all the shit that's gonna come after.
They hug, and I cry a little. Carly goes upstairs, where Freddy is taking the iCarly set down, and what the fuck are you doing, Freddy? What the fuck is that? You took the fucking lens cap off your camera! You didn't put the fucking cam protector on it! You don't do that, man! Your fucking shutter's all out in the open! You're getting fucking dust in your goddamn camera, man! You dipshit!